So I got transferred to the ninth section, and that place was just completely different. It was really nice. Oh, it was just, nice soft colors, and it was very welcoming. It was just a nice place to be, and people were so much more nicer, unlike in the fifth section, where there was one person who was very nice, and my doctor was nice, but the rest of them were just, you know, pissed off constantly, and, you know, they didn't give a fuck. But in the ninth section, everyone was so nice, and it was very comfortable environment to be in. I was still really anxious and on a lot of meds, but so I get a room. No one's in the room. It was like there were two. It was room for two. So I was the first one to go there, so I got to choose the bed, which was nice. So I chose the best bed for me, which is more out of sight from the other bed. The other bed was, you know, kind of behind my bed. So I just sat there in my room for most of the entire day. I went to eat once, I think. Once I got night, you know. I got to eat before I went to sleep. But in the lunchroom, you know, I found the the most safest place to sit in, which was as far away from everyone else as possible, in a very separate table with there were only two chairs, and I took the furthest chair from it, and I still had to eat in front of people, which was a little difficult for me, but yeah, and we had a whole, you know, lots of group, group therapies, like there was music therapy and there was art therapy and some kind of, you know, group sessions where everyone could just sit and talk about some subjects. And those were really difficult for me to do. But um, but most people there just seemed nice, you know, friendly. Like obviously they all had some kind of problems, but in one of there was the music therapy thing. Then we had to pass around this egg, and everyone had to say what was their name, and you know, what were they feeling at the moment. So eventually the egg gets to me, and I managed to get my name out just barely and say that I'm just really anxious. And eventually it goes around, and there's one other person who also says that she's also kind of a little anxious. And there was like connection. there, at least I found someone who I could relate to in some way. And she was also one of those people who sat in the same table. We just mostly sat in the same table when we were eating, but we never said anything. And eventually they diagnosed me with depression and obviously anxiety relating to social situations. And my roommate was an asshole, of course. Turns out he had psychosis or something, which means that he was really living in his own world, in his own made-up world of some kind, if I understand correctly. But it wasn't that bad. We didn't mostly, I just didn't talk with the person. I sat by myself, or I just found a quiet corner somewhere else and just sat there. And in the 9th section I was for 2 weeks. And the therapist did help a little bit, at least to get into some sort of balance. But and I had to. I was talking with my doctor for a couple of times, and some days were just horrible. Where there was, for example, there was this time when I had been there about a week already, just not talking to anybody, just I just stayed quiet. I tried. I wanted to socialize, but I just couldn't. And eventually, there was the other person who had been really anxious was Linda, and there were a whole bunch of other people who I wanted to actually talk to in that room, and so this new person comes in and they all start this conversation, and I'm like, how do I meld into this conversation? Like what do I say? And I had a bunch of ideas. I had a bunch of ideas, but I just couldn't get anything out. I just missed my opportunities because I took too much time thinking about it. Eventually, that guy then who started the conversation asks me literally, directly, like, so, what's your name? And like, do you want to talk? Like, do you want to talk at all? And then my mind just went boom. It was racing, just went racing, completely off track. Couldn't concentrate at all. It was going in all different directions at once. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna make a fool out of myself? Like, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. And all these things, and it was all going so fast. And I just panicked, and I just thought, like, no, like, I didn't say anything, I just nodded, like, and that made me feel so bad later, because all the people I wanted to interact with were in that room, and it made me look like I didn't want to talk to them, when in fact I actually did want to talk to them.